You thought being kind was your way to win, didn't you? You believed that in this cold, cruel world, your goodness would somehow shine through and make everything right. That by showing compassion, by being the one who always cared, you could change the hearts of others, maybe even change the world. You were convinced that if you just kept giving, just kept forgiving, people would see your worth. They would recognize the beauty of your spirit and finally treat you with the respect you deserve. But here's the raw truth, the part you've been too afraid to accept. Your kindness wasn't your strength, it was your weakness. And they knew it. They saw your open heart, your willingness to sacrifice, your patience as a flaw to exploit. You thought that by being selfless, by offering your love without asking for anything in return, you'd create connections that would last. But what you didn't realize is that in a world full of self-interest and manipulation, kindness isn't always seen as a virtue. Sometimes it's seen as an invitation for others to take, and take they did. Every time you gave, they took. Every time you bent, they broke you a little more. And the worst part? You let them. You let them use your compassion as a weapon against you. You gave everything, your heart, your time, your trust. You bent over backward, convinced that if you just gave more, if you just endured a little longer, they'd finally see your worth. But they didn't. They never would. To them, your kindness wasn't a virtue. It was a signal, a neon sign flashing, easy target. The world isn't filled with people waiting to appreciate your goodness. It's filled with takers, parasites, and manipulators who drink your kindness like water and toss you aside the moment they're done. And you let them. You let them trample over you again and again, hoping that maybe, just maybe, this time would be different. But it never was it? Because they didn't just fail you, they chose to fail you. Every betrayal, every lie, every broken promise wasn't an accident. It was a decision. They saw you, not as a person, but as a resource, something to use and discard. They knew what they were doing all along, and they did it because you let them. You thought being good would change them, that your kindness would inspire something better in them. But people don't change unless they want to. And the truth is, they didn't want to. They didn't need to. You made it easy for them. You kept showing up, kept giving, kept forgiving. And for what? They saw your kindness as a tool, a way to make their lives easier, and they used it. They didn't value you because they never had to. No consequences, no boundaries. You let them fail your test over and over because you couldn't bring yourself to walk away. The signs were there, weren't they? Every time they made you feel small, every time they took advantage of your generosity, it was like a sharp sting that you brushed off, convincing yourself it would get better. They had a way of making you feel guilty for wanting to step back. They made you believe that if you just tried a little harder, if you just forgave one more time, things would change. But the truth is, they were never looking to change. They were looking to take, and you kept giving. You put your trust in them, believing that love and kindness could heal wounds, could change hearts. You thought that by being the bigger person, by offering second chances, third chances, maybe even the 100th chance, you'd finally be appreciated. But no matter how many chances you gave, no matter how much you sacrificed, they always took, and they always left you empty. It was never about love or understanding. It was about control, about using your kindness to fill their own voids without ever considering the toll it took on you. And every time they let you down, every time you were left standing there, waiting for them to show up as they promised, you could feel the weight of your kindness turning into something else, something painful. Each broken promise became another weight on your shoulders. Every "I'll change" that never came to fruition etched deeper lines of regret into your heart. But you didn't walk away, did you? You stayed, clinging to the hope that this time would be different. But they never changed. The harsh reality is that they saw your kindness as a vulnerability, not a strength. They knew they could get away with it. They knew that your loyalty and your love were endless, so they took full advantage, never once considering the cost to you. And you kept believing, kept hoping, kept putting your heart in the same place, thinking that maybe this time they'd surprise you. But they didn't. They took more, drained you further, and left you with less. You were the one giving, but they were the ones getting richer. Richer in time, in attention, in opportunities that you sacrificed for them. They used your goodness like a free resource, and with each act of kindness, you unknowingly became their supply, running dry while they thrived. And deep down, you knew it. But you couldn't stop yourself. You kept giving, because that's what you do. You wanted to believe in the goodness of people, even when it was staring you in the face that not everyone deserved it. You thought being good would change them, that your kindness would inspire something better in them. But people don't change unless they want to, and the truth is, they didn't want to. They didn't need to. You made it easy for them. You kept showing up, kept giving, kept forgiving. And for what? They didn't need your kindness. They needed you to stay small, to remain compliant, to keep bending to their will. The more you gave, the less they had to do. And you let it happen. You let them take, let them drain you until there was nothing left to give. So ask yourself, are you going to keep giving and giving until there's nothing left? Or will you rise, rebuild, and become the version of yourself they never saw coming? This isn't about becoming bitter or hateful. It's about growth, about setting boundaries, about choosing to stop bleeding for people who wouldn't lift a finger for you. It's about reclaiming your power and showing the world that kindness isn't weakness. It's a weapon, one you wield on your terms. You don't owe them an explanation. You owe them nothing. Stop being their victim and start being unstoppable. The choice is yours.